Hello and welcome. First of all, acknowledging and thanking all subscribers, but also acknowledging those that listen simply because they feel drawn to it, they feel curious, they would like to understand something, and in doing so, you are supporting the energy of this. I'm getting the word portal. And let's breathe. I sense a very large blue healing circle, indigo blue healing circle around this. Bear with me for a moment as I share with you what was shared with this being, with me. For a number of days, I had the inner nudge to reach out and in and share this with this world and speaking it with the place I'm based, with you, those who do listen, and those subscribers who support this way of being. However, the emotions and the physical body had challenges, and it did not feel entirely right with my ethics to share with you. Somehow the energies are shifting constantly, and it is well beyond the known science and the known astrology, and in a way it is this inner radar of this beingness, and that is for each one of us our guidance. It is clear it has to do with total love, self-worth, and total acceptance of our individual being, never mind what is presenting itself in our life. And as many things are coming to the surface to leave, but when they are working themselves through us, it doesn't feel as if they are leaving. It feels that we are in it. And sometimes we feel drowning in these feelings and thoughts and mental constructs, things possibly that are in the air that we breathe, that are in our cellular library, that are things our family line got conditioned into and survived through, but it's also what our soul and whichever, let's call it theory at this moment, you resonate with, of having parallel lives, of having past lives, or of not having had any lives on Earth, but maybe on other stars, planets, other solar systems, or in groups with others. So it is not entirely clear to me, to this being, how it all fits together. All I know that many things that are taken as kind of a law, yeah, like not in terms of somebody says it is this way, but this is how I experienced it. Therefore, it is like that for everyone. And that is not necessarily so. And then there are many trendy themes and words, and there often even are misrepresented, maybe. And depending on the filter, and this applies to this being as well, we have. And that is okay. But at the same time, it doesn't make it right for the next person. Just let's breathe. What I noticed, and I haven't had personal confirmation in, well, I had some, but I haven't had it right this moment. But it seems that those beings that were placed in the circle to support self-healing are making progress. It doesn't mean they are totally free of the situation, but it is bettering. It is getting better, meaning the yeah the way the being feels and the physical component is improving, even though it may not be totally back to 100% healthiness at this moment. So this is what I wanted to acknowledge. The family member, and I'm placing the person into the healing circle as I'm thinking about them is at least feeling better, is still in hospital, but the values are improving, and I'm placing him in the healing circle because I wish for him to have a more positive outlook, please, even though it is totally understandable when we are not feeling well that we're also commenting on that. And it may represent itself in really having a very bad mood, and that's okay. But then if you put this bad mood or this anger with yourself on someone else constantly, especially on those people that keep visiting you, that keep being nice to you. And with this, I would like to put the entire hospital, their staff, and all clients, I don't want to use the word patients, into the healing circle. as well as all those that visit their friends and family members, their spouses, their children, their parents. Yeah, whatever relationship you have, if you're going there, you're taking your energy and you're bringing a smile as, of course, being in a room, barely moving, getting all sorts of pharmaceutical drugs and procedures is really stressful, as well as visiting there, going there, traveling there, and there were some interruption in public transport, and then not feeling well. All of those of us who have supported loved ones in that way know that your whole day can be filled up with just going there, visiting and being there and coming home really having spent a lot of energy. So placing everyone into this and placing into this healing circle at the same time that we are again creating more local instead of regional places where people are cared for. Even better if there's going to be going back to visiting people in their home, providing them with the care in their home rather than them having to leave their home. Of course, there are situations when technology is only there. So it's a techno thing, it's a money thing. It's also, yeah, having other people to support. And it may not be possible, but there are new forms of living that may be possible in the future when you have supportive home with, yeah, like you used to have a concierge, you could have a doctor in the house or supportive healing staff in the house or in nearby so that they can make house visits. And yeah, I'm getting very fast pictures of very vibrant, full of gardens and flowers and windows and smiley people and this community support that used to be there before humanity in some way took a different turn. So I didn't expect to talk about that because I came online as I wanted to put also myself into the healing circle as some of the things that keep coming up, and it may be the same for you. And it may be just the phantom or the shadow of it and not the real thing. But up to about half an hour ago, it was really intense. And yes, looking at the astrology, we had a powerful full moon, even though we had a lot of cloud cover and sleeping was better than usual. Emotionally, yeah, and physically, there were many symptoms, and it seems there are many Earth changes or galactic changes, energy changes, cellular changes, and it just feels, yeah, I was luckily able to read somebody else's impression, and they were confirming that we are shifting and that the old is being let go and the physical of it, and that many explanations are based on the old physical part and not necessarily on the unseen realm, but that we are feeling or having a crisis of identity, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do, or let's say it like that, the actions that we take no longer bear fruit in the way that it used to, at least in some areas of our life. Others talking about giving us more rest, slowing it down, and being more compassionate. I have to agree, although I have to also share with you, I'm kind of fed up with the slow lane, but I need to listen to the body. And I even managed to go out on the bicycle along the coast, hoping to feel better. And there were surely moments when I did. That was yesterday. It was a Sunday. Oh, I forgot to say the date and the day. Sorry, excuse me. I'm getting also a little bit distracted. Please bear with me. It is because up to about half an hour ago, I had a really heavy headache, which went more or less parallel, it seems, with the thunderstorms we had in the evening. So today is May the 27th. So 27/5/2024. And we started at 10:36, even though I started setting it up at 10:33 a.m. as I wanted to share with you my insight. And we're having a warm-ish morning. It's not totally warm because we had rains, but the sun is out. It's quite kind of this misty fog that you get when there has been a lot of rain. And Tony was having breakfast and Cat as well. Cat was very animated and very happy, and actually he really, in with his humorous, funny way of playing hide and seek, he really challenged me in a positive way because I felt dreadful getting up. So, and having taken 3 hours or something to do so. And Monday mornings seem to be a challenge at least till noon. However, I had decided that I wanted to feel better. And so that maybe this is what was shared in the other article, that we are doing the things that make us feel better rather than thinking in other ways. I've been doing that for a long time. It doesn't necessarily mean things manifest then. And breathing. Honestly, I would much rather be in a conversation with each one of you if you would care to do so. On total heart level, in a situation where we can share what is in our life right now, where we can support each other in simply holding the space filled fully of love and strength and companionship. and not based on this principle that one person is giving a talk like I'm doing now, but in sharing and each one of us speaking in a circle of healing. And yes, it is challenging when there are traumatic experiences happening in the lives of somebody else and oneself is not feeling well and expecting to join a group to feel better. So the thing is that the healing circle energy that has been set up through these talks, these sharings for a number of years now, trusting that the whole part of ourselves is able to overcome it. And so this is why I called this reaching out and in, as I was wondering, how can I do this? As I'm not reaching the 50 subscribers to do it on YouTube, and maybe YouTube is not the place to do this. The same thing, wondering if this is at all my calling. According to my astrology with stellium in the 11th house, with many other things I have done, the so-called accolades, is that it? Of gathering pieces of papers and studying many modalities that in the end are all about one thing, and that is loving yourself, trusting your intuition, and knowing that the energy, the life energy, the energy of life is passing through all of us, and that we are able to co-create the healing scenario together with everything else that we're open to. Ah, I'm sorry. I don't have a headache, but I have a dullness in the areas of my head where the headache was. As it wasn't even a headache, it was a pressure. You can't call it a headache. It's not a migraine. It's something. It's just a head pressure that is really, yeah, but it's not, it's gone. I mean, the pain is gone. So it was a pain, but there is a dullness in the areas which it seems got ignited. So, mm, and yes, I wasn't sure if I should come on. And then I felt listening to a handful of other people who have their lovely input on their various forums, and I felt that really sharing how one feels right now is authentic. It's not about pulling other people down. Most likely, others feel similar. Those who feel great, most likely, don't listen anyhow because they get on with their lives. They have their duties and they have their fun and whatever system they have in their life seems to work well. But it's those of us who, yeah, whose situation is thus that for whatever reason things aren't resonating and things may be still on a in a void or in a retrograde, going over old stuff again, going deeper to let them go. And so the new isn't quite blossoming. And so then I felt maybe just to offer that. So I will put in a Zoom link for this evening in Europe. That's 6 p.m. CEST. And those that are listening and have time could come on and we will have a check-in. And if nobody comes, it's okay too, as I will do it then for that course. And the replay, and it's going to be voice recorded only, will only be available for those who wish to join in. And I will put it then on my Ko-fi page, and you can make a donation, and that can be very little. As so, just really buy a coffee. And this really is to cover the cost of having a computer, having an internet connection, having a web page, having a Ko-fi page, and having headphones. So you can say that your donation is just covering the expenses. As personally, being in a budgeting situation myself and not able to engage, let's call it professionals, or let's call it experts in their field, because they've been doing that for all their life, in a conversation to tackle a certain issue and get some feedback at this moment in time. And I am suffering under that I'm not able to exchange with someone that is intuitively talented and follows a whatever tools they use, so I can bounce back and force what energies are passing through. So I mentioned that we had a full moon. I didn't mention, I think, that Jupiter moved signs a day ago, and that can feel very much, this feeling of pressure and in the void. So part of that was this. However, then there are other things that are also contributing. There are many signs that are passing into Gemini, but there are some that are still in Taurus and in Aries. And we still have the 29, I don't know how many degrees it was exactly, some minutes, something 29, 20 or something of Neptune being in Pisces. And Uranus and Taurus. Jupiter and Gemini, and Pluto being retrograde, I think just under 2 degrees in Aquarius. And these are strong heavyweights. And okay, we have Saturn who moved into Gemini. It's just all at the beginning or the end degrees. So the anoretic degree, or this, it's sort of a zone where they go over, which feels a little bit like a ship without an anchor. This is my interpretation. You may have a different feeling about this. And then obviously it depends how many earth, how many air, and how many water and fire signs you have. And one thing I wanted to share is as well is those that are born with the Uranus and Pluto conjunction in Virgo. This is the 1960s. And then there are those who just have Pluto and Virgo. But what also happens is many of them will have Chiron in Pisces, Chiron with 50 years, and Saturn is in Pisces, and also many will have a Saturn return in Pisces, and personally I have 3 of those 4 planets, but my Saturn is in Aquarius, so but many will go through a second Saturn return. Many will go through a Chiron return, and then having Pisces of the opposite of Virgo, Virgo being this very analytical. And then, yeah, depending on which house you have it, and maybe you have more planets as well around the Pluto Uranus, and the more personal planets you have, the more personal planets it may feel. So I am not wishing to assume everybody is feeling what I am feeling. We have the south and north nodes as well, still in Libra and Aries, but they have moved. However, there may be quite a lot of squares and trines, and I'm not an astrologer. It just means that some are supportive energies and some are energies that build up more pressure and tension. And also maybe Pluto, maybe Neptune, maybe the whole Pisces thing, maybe the shifting Jupiter may feel dislocated, disoriented, having a healing crisis, having a ego crisis, having a mental accumulation, because there are a lot of air signs at the moment. And yes, you can criticize or critique, I would say critique is the better word, astrology, because we may not know everything. A lot of the language may have to change, a lot of the archetypes may have to change, a lot of the zodiac may have to change. However, as I listened to the 13 sign one, and the galactic astrology was sharing that for the analyzing of the persons, the psychology, that the 12 zodiac would or feels more adequate. But this may be a statement that is long older, and I can only acknowledge that things are changing, and also the new planets, the dwarf planets, and I'm getting familiar with some of them, and you may have some of them close to other planets. And so there is another dimension that is coming through the ethers. It's called it like that. And it doesn't feel maybe so physical unless you have a specific item you worked with, or you were lucky to do many courses and have looked at your own horoscope and how it presents itself in your life. I am at the beginning of this, and I am not somebody who looks at the astrological chart of others, or if I do, it's just a couple of people. So I am not considering myself an expert yet. There are common themes, and the fact that I am feeling better sharing with you voicing shows me that the stellium that I'm having in the 11th house, which means humanitarian, it means also service, it means groups, and it also means using this type of technology to reach out to others, as certainly I don't have people locally in the bandwidth that I find them online, and also the people that I know then are so busy with their lives, and it has been a pattern that it's me who's reaching out rather than others, maybe because I'm new here, maybe because I have a very complex way of feeling and thinking and putting things together, and I'm trying to use very clear language. However, in the multi-layered levels of beingness and of all tools. With tools, I don't mean tools, I mean talents that we use. You look, like a tool is like learning the alphabet to know how to spell a word, and then, you know, your emotions and your intuition putting a meaning to it. And then some people misinterpret it or mishear it or have a different view on what a word means, because we're having a very, yeah, we're not speaking in mandalas and hieroglyphs, even though that is what really our nature is. And this is why the voice is so important, because that is my trust and hope that the true love, compassion, meaning comes through in a purest of ways that it can be, and reaches the other person and provides a benefit. Obviously, it could be not like that, but this is the intention. Okay, so all these things I have just shared have brought me to this offering to I'm sorry, I will have to pause this for a moment as I can hear a cat. Hello, I'm sorry about this. It wasn't my cat. If it was a cat, and if it was some motor saw or something like that, it's further away. And so it is my nature to check. So there is no cat fighting on my place, and whatever it was, thank you for bearing with me, but this is life. This is authenticity. And this is also integrating this multi-D, reaching out, reaching in to, at the same time, being present locally. And I'm just breathing to getting back into the energy. So, and I have to also share with you that the sun has come out, and whatever energy has been present till about 9:30, 10 a.m. here shifted as I felt more connected. I felt happier, and it's been very hard to connect with that feeling of happiness, never mind what I tried out and what I did. And this has to do with the personal path I've been on and the situation. Um, and also, yes, being on the land here and having that ancestral DNA and the conflicts that are still supposedly are still in this world, even though the energy I connect with right now has none of it. Let's say it the other way around, that it used to, and it may well still do this, affect me as my empathy for what innocent others, young adults, or whatever, parents and children and grandparents, whatever has to go through, which is what my grandparents and parents went through, and where there is very little, if none, acknowledgement of having gone through this. And all you have is, yeah, books of other people, discussions of other people, and the regurgitating of some history where really nobody knows what really is the truth. All I can say is follow the money, and no war is possible, no conflict is possible without somebody financing it. And even if you're producing weapons, somebody has to buy them. And so whoever and whatever is doing that, and whoever and whatever names themselves a leader or is in the position of a leadership and cannot apply diplomacy to avoid this mayhem, well, I am not able to see the full picture. I can only share with you my inner feeling that really there is no justification for any conflict. And I trust that there are methods where one can meet with all parties and come to a change in energy, a change in consciousness, where through your presence, the other party is understanding what life is about and lets go of these old patriarchal patterns of destruction. yeah, so I am not saying that I can see the entire picture, but I have the human right to share my voice, and that is the voice for peace. And so I'm placing all the conflicts of this world into this healing circle as well. And then there is another matter that I would like to place in this healing circle too. And um, it is new and it is old, and it has to do with the interpretation that Venus has to do with self-worth, love, as well as money. And if this is so, that's one thing. And then the energetic mental concepts that were arising physically as an emotion in my body these last few days, and they were before the full moon, and yeah, all this weekend because triggered to something on Friday. And the fact that, and I'm placing all of this in the healing circle, if any of this is true, as the car I inherited had to go to it's every 2 years, a checkup to get the ITV stamp, and the car drives fine. But there were some warning signals in yellow coming, and 2 years ago nobody found anything, and so they came and go. Anyway, this time one wasn't going, so I decided to give it to the garage to do the ITV rather than doing it myself. And because of all this kind of that you then have to go to the garage before you then go back, because they won't give you the mm, the um the stamp, whatever it's called, that thing. And there was one thing that had to be replaced, and I agreed to that, and then they took it there. And so hoping, even though having a foreshadowing that it may not go this way, well, they poked around and under some rust, they discovered a hole in one of the parts, and so they failed it. And apparently, because of that, they then criticized the profile of all the tires, because otherwise they wouldn't have let it go through. I'm sure they're good for another 6 months or so. Whatever, I'm not so cross about the tires. It was the energy behind it. That apparently the way it was described to me, apparently that the ITV people were poking around unnecessarily and creating mm, situation where repairs had to be done. And I'm talking about the energy that created. And I wasn't there. I have no reason to not trust the lady who called me, but I would like to place the entire energetic current into the healing circle. So this meant, though, that obviously the to get the car through tripled from what needed to be invested. And this put me in a situation that I had to borrow the money, which in a way is not a bad thing. It is just that really since September last year, and I was just coming out of the Saturn return and I still had Pluto square, my ascendant, so a Pluto transit. All my efforts to get even a part-time minimum pay job have not worked. And so that together with having followed my spiritual path for the last 30 years and trusting and consulting others and understanding that there are some creative things that I need to do, but that there were circumstances that were getting in the way, and then there were energy lack getting in the way, and then there were um, my own personal energy not really showing it, or let's say it like that, since having come out in public. Um, and having been part of a couple of online communities, the donations I received today till this day, the whole of 2023 were 20 euros from two people. One person made a donation of 15 and one person of 5. And I am very thankful that they did and gave me some feedback, because I have received very little feedback for this type of, I call it work at this moment, because setting up everything, trusting the intuition and having the courage to come out to it and getting confirmation from various people, but not having much public feedback, and whatever I had to move through, well, it has not so far given me resources so I can care for my little family here. And this is the second thing. The third thing is, and so I would like to place all that into the healing circle, as I'm fully ready to take on whatever may be my part, and deal with the challenge of whatever backlash and waves one go through, because you know that often it is like that. You get these, let's call them energy robots, whatever you may get into the situation that other people critique things they don't understand, but that is life on Earth, is it not? And so never mind that, because those who do understand and those who do wish to support and who do find a resonance with this body of work, don't really like the word work, but it is not meant in the sense of drudgery. It is meant in the sense of, let's call it, project. So for those that, but it felt like really it was my work. It was hard work to pass through all these energetic passages, to manage all that, and to be here. And also, yeah, maybe passing through experiences from other timelines, let's call it this way, this loose way, where we, many of us, were not allowed to speak out, or were, yeah, lost their lives, or worse, their loved ones were harmed because some of us spoke out. And that is obviously very much the energy of the patriarchy, as and the worst form of it is dictatorship. So, and this country has experienced this, and probably most land has experienced this, but also the ancestral lines have experienced that and had to live under that, and however much it was conscious for them, directly or indirectly, it influenced their lifestyle and their way of behaving, and basically their personal freedom. And whatever part of evolution or creating consciousness this is, and whatever way one needs to pass through to clear oneself of it, if that is possible at all. In this lifetime, yeah. Um, it is okay. It has had an effect. That's what I would like to say. It has had an effect. So let's breathe. Okay. And the other decision I took, it's almost 3 years ago, I think it's 2.5 years ago, is that from the few people that I have had contact with in my life, or that were still in my life, or that meant something in my life, who were, and this one person who was going through a difficult situation, and I was in a position to help out, I offered to help out. Obviously, I didn't expect to again come into the situation I find myself in. I had trusted that from the resources that were gifted to me via inheritance, I was able to build myself a new way of being, a new way of income, a new way of resources, and I am grateful for having a home. And I can't see where I made a wrong decision. I went by trust. I went by my intuition. I went by nature, by my nature. But obviously, my nature would be to give this money to this person, to never give it back to me. But I am not in a situation to do so. Plus, it is family money, meaning I am seeing myself as a guardian to pass this on to the next generation, as it was given from the generation before them. This is my way of looking at things. And I had never expected 20 years ago, when I had a very, very, very good career, in the sense that I had luck and talent and worked hard, that the same person would sit at the other end. But in retrospect, looking at it, Pluto squared my sun, and that is a major transformation. And so I did go with my intuition then, based on my circumstances, firmly in centered in myself, made these decisions and trusted. But that does not mean you don't go through dark times, or times where the resources are not flowing, because that is the kind of rites of passage, isn't it? Trust doesn't always mean uh, in good times, it means in bad times as well. And so this is another thing I would like to place, the trust in not so good times in this healing circle too. So the other thing I would like to place in there, that the person that I helped out and who borrowed the money, and I still consider this person my friend, even though I have heard little. But that is because this person went through another crisis, and he does have children. And the fact that he was contemplating, well, he didn't say this to me, but I sensed that that was coming up. And I tried to talk, but there was no openness for whatever he had to go through. He had to go through. But the fact that he tried to end his life, and he wasn't successful, and good so, because of family members, even though I'm not judging anybody, I can understand a lot of things. Um, I did not feel to remind him. And so what I would like to do is place this into this healing circle, because someone who means well and does things out of compassion, someone who wants to work and can't find work, someone who wants to do things but the body is saying no, and that doesn't mean it is a labeled illness. It may just be, let's call it ascension symptoms. Yeah, that the bigger picture in life seems to be more important than the small everyday stuff. Anyway, these last 2 days, these everyday stuff triggered by that car situation, from the energy and also from the fact, because it is summer, it is the weekend, there are only certain things one can do, and with all the family member having to be in a hospital with other family members being supporting that situation, it is still family, and it is still, even though one isn't physically there, energetically one is there, we are there, and we are supporting, and having to look after one's own little family and one's own body and not feeling like doing anything, and this all feeling so unnatural, and feeling this feeling of disempowerment, of not knowing how to get through, and not knowing what life will be like, and still not knowing, but being okay with it. Right now, I'm okay with it. I'm talking to you about it. However, I would like to place that in the healing circle, as I feel, because that friend of mine did get a job, solved the situation. He does have to pay things back, and went through some, yeah, whatever you go through when you're in a situation like that. But um, he passed his passage, and so now it mo it feels it is the time to at least pay some of the money back, so I don't have to borrow from someone else. So this is what weakened me, and what is moving through. And so, and it has been difficult to feel the trust in the energy, as my understanding is Earth is going through the same changes, and is also tired like us, and is going through a transition. And part of the reason many of us are in this limbo is because the new is already there, but it is not in our everyday life. But it has been for a while, and for some of us, for those of us who have gone not just through the first Saturn return that is around 2930, those who have gone through, oh, there's something with 42, I forgot what that is, but then the Chiron return was 50, and then the second Saturn return with the end 50s, and whatever else. And in the end, maybe the body is changing, but the heart, I mean, I still feel like 40, 45 maybe. And there is also, on a good day, no difference in the energetics. In fact, we have grown stronger. This is the yogic thing. You don't grow old, you grow as strong as a tree. So with every year, with every decade, you're having another ring, like you have these rings in the trees around it, which anchors you. And yeah, but at times one feels really tired, and life feels shorter. And so priorities are set. And and I was even getting a no from a company that's similar to €1 shop thing. It is not, but it's a clothing company, but it sells really cheap clothes, and they're looking, and they're still looking, but nevertheless. And it's all online. It's not in person. It's all come via a central point. And whether, and even if you don't even write your age, they may see it, you know, from when you finished your college or whatever it is, you overqualify, whatever it is, it's not meant to be. But the effort, and when Mars, let's say, the energy wants to move forward, wants a solution, and a partial solution, while building up the other. And yeah, it costs energy. So surrendering, letting it go. And I'm talking about that because maybe others of you are in a similar position, or your sons and daughters, or your parents. And the reason I'm saying all this is because yesterday and today than this money thing attached to a good job, a good career, and equal that you are a good person, a functional person, a conscious person. The idea that if you are spiritually evolved, you should be materially evolved as well. The idea if you work hard that you are successful. The idea that the universe supports you. Yeah, but if it is not my path to put my energy into a minimum pay, bad enough people have to have a minimum pay, bad enough people have to work in that environment. But maybe in certain situations, like being a student, it's not so bad. Or some people just would like to get out of the house. It's not about money. It wasn't about money just for me. I wanted to also reach out in winter and have some point of connection with other humans after these years we have been through. And so really, yeah, compassion is great, but things are going on too long, and then having to understand that I have co-created this situation and I don't get it because it would be so easily be solved. So I'm putting all of that I've just spoken about into the healing circle. It is giving me a strange feeling to go public with this into a public that I don't know. However, if my path should be that holding these joint circles of healing where I would like everyone to speak up, not as long as this has been, but everybody can place their loved ones, their current feelings, their current thoughts, their current challenges into that portal, that healing bowl, and all of us being there holding it. Maybe a way of supporting each other going through this. And that you can re-listen to it when there is maybe no live circle. So you can hear each other's voices, and in giving each person a voice, maybe alone that will shift the energy. And so while this Zoom link is public, I decided that the recording is going to be shared only with those that are really committing to this with the intuitive hope that there will be a core group that can support each other. I apologize for this long explanation because I feel that long lectures like this are in itself taxing to the energy system. I trust that my intuition to share with you means me speaking up. I spoke up for every voice that has been passing through this piece of land. And that what I'm offering is something I can hold. And it is that what I'm meant to do at this moment. Maybe it's only temporary. But that obviously I need to step out into the wider public because this is what has come to me, and I don't want to use the word experiment, but if it is true that my blueprint is in my heart and I have the stellium in the 11th house, this could be one of the things I came here to offer, whatever the consequences are, and healing everything along the way. And I'm not saying that being on this earth alone has been a challenge. Through being energetically sensitive, through being quite intelligent, and through having tried to find my place and really not having had a curriculum vitae that fits in with many others. And really, what do we wish for? Really, we all wish to have community, wish to have family, wish to have people who care, people who know us, and wish people who are not here to criticize, put somebody down, but also to basically say no through to other people's opinion of us. So, meaning negative opinion of us. Those of us who understand each other, that's okay. And another reason is this, of course, I don't know. We don't know. Maybe we will all transcend and this whole leaving our body and passing no longer applies, but who knows? The so the difference between passing family members who are parents are maybe 20 to 30 years. So I've taken the middle and I've said, oh, I may have 25 summers left on this planet, and I would like to enjoy it. I am not enjoying living in scarcity, feeling inadequate. I can honestly say that everyone in my family I know have given their best. Yet, I would say many are in survival mode. particularly women, are giving 3 times more than they have to, and having a third, and so a third, I mean, of the resources. So they're giving so much more. And I understand that there are life experiences of other people that are far more challenging than my own, and they may be far more, much wiser than I am. But there are also other people's paths that are easier. And I am not wishing to compare myself. It just makes me wonder how it can be that I have neighbors on one side and neighbors on the other side that are obviously not passing through the same experiences and doing well. And as somebody said to me, that so many people have a very good income and still are moaning of not having enough. And whilst others have never the chance of reaching this income, and how ageism and all the other isms out there is really not supportive. So I will close now, as I don't want to mention all those things we all know about that are going on, and that are sometimes too much. So this is really just putting everything in the healing circle that went on, and offering you and others the possibility to support each other. And I'm just happen to be the messenger to create this. And taking part is free, in the sense that you don't have to pay for it. However, those that wish to really join in and wish the recording, they can make a donation and get the MP3. I have no other idea right now, and maybe in the future there is another way. Maybe having something like a Patreon account, or there may be something better that doesn't take so many percentages of what is coming in, or that doesn't take money in converting, like, what you have with other electronic payment systems. And there may be another way of creating resources, so people like us can do what they're feeling they're called for. As I have certainly many ideas and many plans, and I have been very close to manifesting them, but it hasn't happened. And that is partially the reason why it feels so difficult to trust, as maybe it wasn't the right time. Maybe it wasn't the right alignment. Maybe it is not my thing. But why do I have an idea then? And why do I then put all my efforts in it? And why then doesn't it come out as a positive manifestation? In my experience, it has been always outer influences that have stopped that. And it has been the major conflicts in this world that changed the financial landscape. And so the offered credit wasn't given. So I couldn't do the project, or I had to leave the country having built um, something similar than this healing circle, build a client base, but not having had enough to sustain the monthly resources. And so, well, maybe the past was that we had to return home to where the country where we were born in. Maybe this is part of the healing. Maybe it's just unfortunate circumstances. And the other thing that has also been a big part is the grieving process, that it often takes 3 to 5 years to come to terms with the loss of a loved one. Because being this multidimensional being, it is very difficult to understand how this separation of the physical body, or if we're not physical, what this passing over, what this letting go, what this, well, why can't we hold the hand and hug them and see them in the eyes? Maybe we can on another level. We can talk to them, but it's not the same than having them in your life physically and going for coffee with them. And so that bit of grief, that you can't just drive to them and say hi and say, let's go for coffee, or just sit with them and watch a movie, or just sit with them and do small talk, whatever. Yeah. So that's obviously everything I obviously talked about is part of the human experience. But then what is human? And I trust its multidimensionality. In any case, should you feel resonance, if you feel you would like to be part of this project, and or if you just like to support this type of offering, well, thank you for listening. There are no strings attached, and I have no expectation. I simply put this out here, and let's see what comes from it. I'm not one wishing to posaun out into the public my little life. There are curriculum vitae, so there are life stories of other people that are inspiring. But I have to honestly share with you that I no longer believe we need to go through suffering to wake up and become conscious. Evolution can happen through joy. Being conscious can happen through joy. And so that is the reason. that I don't really wish to share these things that have manifested as they are already in the past. So, but I am putting all this in the healing circle, and I also put into the healing circle to please be guided to see what is my part and where is my alignment and how will I attract resources that support me in the projects that I feel called to do, and they are often for the good of all. I really don't wish anyone having to go through the dark night of the soul totally alone. Why? But obviously there is something this being has to experience, this being has to see, and this being has to feel. And maybe it is a simple act that we are supported. Having to ask someone or someone offer me support or someone saying to me, I want you to do your art, which hasn't happened for a long time, but it being manifested. Maybe that is what this soul needs to hear, and maybe my offering is what others need to hear, to heal, so we can build this new earth. And so I think I should stop talking now and go outside and have a breath and trust that the sincerity, authenticity is coming through, but also that, as I totally have to understand, I have to share with you, I do trust there is a solution already there. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel so elated now having voiced this. So maybe this voicing is the healing, the sharing is the healing. I simply don't know. There are many things I have done and tried before, and maybe the fact is now it's a different time. Or if it's not my thing, maybe someone else listens to this and gets an idea and they're okay. So it would be really lovely to get feedback if any of the things that I have shared with you have improved your situation. And when you are then the coming out of the situation of not having resources that you could give back in the moment that you have resources, maybe you can support this. And maybe this is what the future is going to be, that we have a platform similar to those crowdfunding and Patreon things, but where people are known. And maybe it exists already because I'm not on social media. But the fact is that maybe this is how we are going to finance each other's projects in the future. Or maybe it isn't about money. Simply we, like it used to be with neighbors and communities, you didn't have to give the money. This is like bring your own kind of thing. You bring what you have surplus at home, come together for a party, or you bring what you have at home to help somebody with their situation, whether this is a sick family member or having to rebuild their home, or having expertise in anything from health to taxes, so you don't have to pay a stranger. And with this, you could have a local community where you have all the resources present. And in fact, if you haven't watched Beatrix Potter, the movie about the author who wrote the books about Jemima Puddleduck, these apparently most sold children's book in the world, and she bought all the farms in the Lake Districts, and it is now a heritage site. But if we could create something where we buy up the derelict houses in our vicinity, or even get gifted them and create like a community where we have people with different skills, each person having their own home, because I think that is important, and then having shared space, and then having shared resources. Not all of it, but so that everybody that needs support is supported. And so we have these, like it used to be when you could go to grandma and have a chat, or to go to grandma and borrow some money, or to go to, I don't know, buy a comic or something, or go to grandma or grandpa because whatever you needed, have a drink of something, have a lemonade, or and help them, whatever, harvest their cherries, whatever. I'm rambling on, so I stop now. I'm thanking you for your patience. I'm thanking me for the courage. I feel really awful right now about this. I'm thanking myself for having voiced this as I feel lighter. I just haven't been able to voice this to anyone in person. So whatever comes of it, this is the first step. I will post the Zoom link. Thank you. Peace now, here, everywhere. And so it is. Thank you.